Hey, Fresh Family, welcome back to our podcast, Life After Trauma. I'm your host, Lisa Colston, and my co-host is Fresh the DJ, my son. Today, roles will reverse a little. So I'll be co-hosting and Fresh will be hosting. He's going to ask me questions on caregiving. And we're going to start off, welcome back, Fresh.
I appreciate you bringing me back on.
Thank you for coming. So let's kick things off. We've been talking about caregiving and what we go through as caregivers, and I hear you're gonna put me on the hot seat with some questions.
First, I want to know, do you feel like the outside world understands the weight that you carry as a caregiver?
Do I feel the outside world understands the weight that I carry as a caregiver?
Yes.
Absolutely not. I don't think that they understand because it's hard. It's a situation that's hard to understand that you haven't been through. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to understand. So I don't think. But this is where we both come in. It's bringing awareness. So as long as we continue to bring forth awareness, we're going to bring forth understanding. So no, my answer is no. I don't think that they understand the weight that I carry.
And they never will.
Unless you go through this situation. It's unimaginable. But we carry it well.
Yes, you do. Do you ever feel like you lost part of yourself while caring for me?
Do I ever feel like I lost part of myself while caring for you? Absolutely not. I'm still who I was before your accident. And if anything, I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned patience. I've learned understanding. I've learned, even though I knew those things, I've learned more about, trust and putting myself in someone else's situation. So no, I don't think I lost a part of myself. I think I've gained a lot.
What was the most mentally challenging part about caring for someone you love?
What's the most mentally challenging part about caring for someone that you love? For me, not being able to fix it, whatever it is. I've always, as a mom, been able to fix it, whether it was put a Band-Aid over it, whether it was to go and buy something, go to the doctor and we fix it. So that's the most thing. It's something that's not in my hands to fix. It's in God's hands. So being patient and understanding is what I've. It's probably the most not being able to fix it.
Well, have there been moments where you felt like you couldn't continue? And how did you get through those emotions?
Have there been moments that I felt like I couldn't continue? And how did I get through those emotions? Well, I don't have to answer the second question because the answer to has there been moments that I felt like I couldn't continue? No. I've never felt like I couldn't continue because failure is not an option. Right. So no, no, I've never felt like I couldn't continue. It's hard sometimes, absolutely, but stopping, I've never considered stopping.
One thing we stop at is red lights and stop sign.
That's it, red lights and stop sign, and there may be signs to slow down a little bit, but there's no stopping. So I'm going through this. I'm going through the red light. I'm rolling right on through it.
What would you like the world to learn about you as a caregiver?
What would I like the world to know about me as a caregiver?
And your experience.
First and foremost, in order to be a caregiver, number one, you have to care.
Right.
It's impossible to be a caregiver if you don't care. So that's the first thing. I'm a caring person, not just for you,
But for people in general.
So I really want the world to know that I genuinely love and care about everyone. And it's always been me, even as a little girl. I never wanted to see people hurt. I always wanted to give. I wanted to volunteer. I didn't know that this would be my purpose, but God was already grooming me for this.
Putting those steps in order.
Absolutely. And I pray that He continues to order my steps.
As long as you don't fall.
I won't fall.
And if you do, gonna get back up.
I'll get back up.
And if you can't, I'm gonna pick you up. How about that?
I appreciate it.
Keep climbing them steps when we get to the top.
Absolutely. You heard that, right? Keep climbing the steps until you get to the top. And those stairs may be slippery.
Yeah, but somebody might drop some water on that third step. But you got 17 more until you get to 20.
Absolutely.
Well, if you could go back in time, what would you tell the version of yourself before you started this journey?
If I could go back in time, what would I tell the version of myself before I started this journey?
Who just started this journey?
Whoa, if I could go back in time, I would say it's going to be hard, but it's worth it. That's it. It's hard. It's so very hard at times, but the end result is so worth it. It was hard to see you go through what you went through. It was hard to see you suffering, but it's such a pleasure to see how far you've come. And it was definitely hard, but again, it's so worth it. I look at you now, I can only smile, and I'm smiling because I know how much further you're gonna go. I know that this platform, this Life After Trauma, the platform that we've created together is for others to get through what we've been through and what we're still going through. So, as I've stated in the past, God has put us in this situation for us to be teachers and us to be, leaders, to bring people and to bring forth awareness.
As my caregiver, have you ever had those moments where you wish things could go back to the way they were? And did you feel guilty about those thoughts?
As your caregiver, do I wish that things could go back the way they were before the accident? And do I feel guilty about those thoughts? I think for me, I used to feel like that. I used to feel like, oh, I want my son back. Oh, I want back who he was. And until God shows me, like, embrace who he is. Embrace the new addition that you still have who you had, but there's a new addition. It's like having twins. So the old fresh is definitely still there, but there's this new fresh that's brighter. The light in your eyes it's a certain sparkle. So yeah, no, I don't wish that things could go back to the way that they were, because God has a plan and there's nothing that I can do to change it. If it was in God's plan for this to happen, for this to be our road, for this to be our purpose, I want it to be in God's hand. So no, I don't wish things could go back to the way they were. My life, if that's the case, I would say that about everything that happened in life. But those things made me who I am today. And this situation with you makes me who I am today. So no. And no, I don't feel guilty about ever thinking that. I'm human. It's a normal reaction. It's a normal feeling. Just like, depression and mental depression. It's normal. We all go through it, and we just have to learn our medium, our happy medium, is to where we can sort of balance
and cope.
Absolutely. It's natural for a caregiver to have those thoughts. It's natural to have a feeling of being overwhelmed. That's when it comes the time that you just have to step back just a little bit and take time for yourself. Now, for me, I don't take time for myself often. Taking time for myself, a pleasure, is us doing something quiet together. Is us having lunch together, or having manicure, pedicure. That's what makes me feel good. But for you, whatever works for you, but you definitely have to take some time and do something that makes you feel good. And that's to give you the energy that you need as a caregiver to continue on. So no, don't ever feel bad about feeling tired. Never feel bad about being overwhelmed. When your body tells you to slow down, your back is hurting, tend to yourself, because there's not much you can do for your loved one if you can't take care of yourself. Because when you're down, that takes away from what you can do for them. So you definitely have to, take your vitamins and, visit a doctor regularly. When you have signs and symptoms that something is wrong, go ahead and take care of yourself. Don't let the situation progress, and don't let someone ever make you feel guilty about taking time for yourself.
What do you wish you knew about caregiving before this journey started?
What do I wish I knew about caregiving before this journey started? Well, I knew a lot about caregiving before this journey started, and I didn't know that I knew everything because I never had the opportunity to sort of put it into play. When I was about 13 or 14 years old, my grandmother had a stroke. So my aunts trained me. The nurses came in and they trained us on how to take care of my grandmother. And once you had this situation, I'd already saw some of the same things with taking care of her, and it just came natural. Some caregivers are natural. The only thing that I really didn't know, and I'm going to correct that, there are some things that I really wish I had known. The mental part of it. I never really considered, because I was a young child. I was just doing what my family wanted me to do. That was my grandmother. So of course I'm gonna, clip her nails and, things like that and help them turn her. But I never thought about the mental. I never once thought about how my grandmother actually felt laying in the bed. How she's used to getting up, cooking dinner on every Sunday, because our family met every Sunday like the movie Soul Food. Every Sunday, the entire family was at my grandmother's house. So to see her down was like, it was a shock. It was a big shock to not see her active. But I never really considered the mental before. When your accident happened, I was working. I was there every day firsthand, so I was able to see the impact that it had on you mentally, and then the impact that it had on me mentally. So if I wish I'd known one thing, it was to have knowledge of, how to cope and deal with it mentally to keep going. Because you have to be mentally strong to deal with something like this and to be successful in recovery.
I agree.
So I have a question for you, Fresh. What do you say to the caregivers? What would you say? Look right here. What would you say to the caregivers?
To the caregivers, I would say, how would you feel if you were sitting in that bed? Or not just that bed, that's just something that was in my mind. What was one of the hardest parts, because I'm someone who was on the go constantly. How would you feel if that were you sitting in that bed and you had to use the restroom, and I'm ringing on this bell for you to come help me, but you're going to sit there and continue eating your food? I'm ringing this bell letting you know I have to use the restroom now. Yes, patience is a virtue. However, put yourself in my shoes.
Or put themselves in their loved one's shoes.
Yes.
So you're saying basically, if their loved one is
Reverse the roles.
Reverse the role. If their loved one is saying, hey, I need to go to the restroom, don't take your time. Well, and I definitely didn't. And I've always said I move fast for him because I want somebody to move fast for me. I move fast for myself. So if I'm in a position that I can't move fast for myself, you know that I would move fast for you. So move fast for me. I'm not going to ask you for much, and I don't want to ask you for anything. But when I ask you, I expect for you to, get up and move quickly. And I move like that for you, and I try to bring forth awareness to give him anything and everything that he even thinks that he won't, because I'm proud that you fought, and I feel like you deserve it, and you would do it for yourself. Had this situation not occurred, you have always been independent, and you would get up and go buy it for yourself, do it for yourself, cook it for yourself, drive yourself, clean yourself. So I get it. And I try to give that same energy, but I do agree that it should definitely be the caregivers need to put themselves in their loved one's position first every day. When you want someone to get up first, as soon as you wake up, what we've always done, the very first thing, wash his face, give him his toothbrush, wash your face, brush your teeth. That needs to be a regimen that you as a caregiver, you need to make sure this is what you do for your loved one. If you don't do, you know whether or not you do this. And I know a lot of you do not. I've been around you in situations. I've been in overnights. I'm like, they didn't even wash this, but how often? And I've noticed a lot of people after the accident, their teeth start to decay. That's because the caregivers feel like, well, we don't need to give, he not talking. We don't need to give him oral care. Yeah, you do. You need to brush those teeth. He needs to go to the dentist. They need to go to the dentist. They need to have they need to have their nails manicured. I see a lot of people whose nails are very long. The same attention that they had prior to the accident, or the same attention that you would want for yourself, you have to give that. This is when God is going to show you grace for going above and beyond. And it's really not above and beyond. It's treating people the way that you want to be treated. And this is why I say all the time, you are not exempt. Anyone could be in an accident at any time. So make sure you treat people the way that you want to be treated. If you get up and wash your face and brush your teeth, wash their face and brush their teeth. If you have morning breakfast and coffee, give them the same thing on a schedule. A strict schedule is what's needed after an accident. So I agree that's it's definitely necessary. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. You have to do that first. If you wouldn't want to lay there in their wet diaper, don't let them lay there longer than as soon as you know it needs to be cleaned and changed. All right, so Fresh, I have a question for you. Last episode, you were on the hot seat. I was able to ask you some questions, but there were a few questions that I thought about after your interview, and I want to know, like, if you could change being in this day since you've had this accident, how much you've progressed, if you could change one thing about how your life is, if you could do something that you're not able to do, if you could go what would you change? Like, if God granted you the wish to change one thing immediately, what would it be?
It would be my ability to regain my left side.
Yeah. And but you understand that all things are possible.
Yes.
And you understand the flexibility that you have on that left side. A lot of people don't have that flexibility. And you understand that you going to therapy 4 years later. Like right now we are exactly 4 years later, and you understand that some people 4 and 5 and 6 years later don't have the range of motion that you have, and you understand why.
Yes, I do.
It's the constant therapy. It's the constant motivation. It's the never giving up. It's the always giving 200%. And I never want you to stop that.
Because if nobody's going to motivate me, who's going to motivate me?
You have to be a self-motivator first. You have to be a self-motivator. No one can give you all of their energy if you're consuming that energy and doing nothing with it. So if someone is going to give you that type of energy and they're feeding into you, you make sure that you do something positive with that energy that they're feeding into you. And I know for a fact you always do that. And I commend you for that. I really do. Kudos to you for doing that.
Yes, because if you're thirsty, I can bring you to the water, but a cannot force you to drink it.
Absolutely.
The water's right there in your face, but you're thirsty.
You have to want it. I can help you, but you have to want it. Absolutely. Another question. We've talked in the past, you and I, just a little bit, because I always say no one owes you anything. No one owes me anything. I'm here because I want to be. How do you feel, or can you talk a little bit about, we talk about people leaving, all the friends that you had, and you're very popular now. You're even more popular, but the popularity that you had prior to the accident in the entertainment industry with meeting, so many actors and rappers. What do you say to people that's going through this situation and everybody's left? Or has everybody left? Who actually stays around? Talk a little bit about that. Me? I stayed around? Absolutely. Because I love you. And I would want someone to stay around for me.
I would say to them, they left for a reason.
They left for a reason.
God removed them for a reason.
Yeah, God removed them for a reason. And where you're going on this journey is not meant for everyone to go. This is to weed out the real from the fake. Real is rare. And it's a tough situation to see your friends go through. It's a tough situation to see your family go through. But the real is those that stay around and try to learn and try to help. I think that we're natural helpers, and everybody's not like that. So when I say nobody owes you anything, we don't charge it to anyone's head. We don't charge it to anyone's heart. It's to the head. That, hey, they have a lot going on. Everybody has their own life. But yes, people leave. And they don't understand how important it is for them to pick up the phone and just say, hey, I'm just checking on you. Or pull up, hey, I came to spend the corner with you. But as soon as something happens to them, they expect for everyone to run and be there. And it's just not the case. So what do you say to someone that's new in this and they're feeling alone and they're feeling like they have no one? What kind of words of advice can you give to them about holding on and being strong?
When you came in this world, who came with you? When you leave this world, who's going to go with you? Alone. That's my way of thinking about it.
Yeah, so you have to be comfortable with being alone.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable with being alone, you have to get comfortable, because that gives you the opportunity to learn yourself. And you learn how strong that you are. And you learn, like, I don't really need a lot of people. I need a whole lot of God. And if they're patient, they'll understand that God is going to put everybody around you that he wants to be around you. He's going to remove people from you that may be, gearing you in the wrong direction or may not mean you a lot of good. And he's going to put people around you that you never thought that you would connect with, or that wouldn't even be your, as you would say, my type that I hang out with, or my type that I date, or because you'll see the real in people. We've talked about people leaving, and we've also hit a little bit on the mental aspect of it all. And we know it's easier said than done. So for you to tell someone that's in this situation, learn to be by yourself, learn to live without people. They're going to say, yeah, that's easy for you to say. You're past this situation. But
I had to start somewhere. Tell me I'm past this situation.
Yeah. Someone may say, hey, that's easy for you to say because you've been through it. But what you're saying was, I got through it. I had to go through it.
I didn't go through it. It's never happened to me before.
Right.
So I had to figure out a way.
Right. And your figuring out a way was learning to be alone.
Yes.
And learn to be comfortable with being alone. And I've heard you say you meditate.
And I don't get comfortable. I do when I feel myself getting comfortable, I get uncomfortable quickly.
Yeah. You need to change up. Don't get comfortable being like this.
Because anything could change immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so warm in this room. Nah, let me take this cover off and start freezing.
Yeah.
So when I get cold, I'm not confused. I'm ready for it to take this next fight on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's a good way. It's a good way to look at it. Don't get comfortable. This whole situation is uncomfortable. So learn to be comfortable in yourself and learn to lean on God and pray for strength and understanding and know that time is patience. I appreciate it. So again, the reversal was amazing. You put me on the hot seat. I wasn't expecting some of the questions that you asked, but I think that, bringing forth awareness in these situations and making, the world understand, like, there's so many people that go through this and you're not alone. We're here and we're building this platform, Life After Trauma, because we want to know your life after trauma. Thank you guys for tapping in with us. Fresh Family, Life After Trauma. See you next time.